Hey everyone, and welcome to the Daycare podcast. We're back with your two usual hosts, Mr. Nipples and Nick, and our special guest tonight is Mark Baker, the creator of Private Murphy.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How y'all doing?
Pretty good.
Uh, no complaints. I know that Pete told me not to do this, but just so you know, I'm kind of fanboying a little bit. I'm a huge fan, and he told me not to tell you that, but it's too late. So,
Okay. Well, that's fantastic. I always appreciate fans.
oh,
But hey, quick question. So it's the radio show is Daycare.
yep, Daycare podcast. You know how
Daycare part because I'm not familiar with it, and I probably should have become more familiar
it's
with
all
your
right.
your
A lot of
podcast
people
before I.
we're actually really new. This is only like our 14th or 15th show so far. We
Okay.
you know how Top used to stand, or any senior NCO used to stand in front of formation and go, "This is not a goddamn daycare."
Yeah.
Well, this is the
Oh,
daycare.
okay. Got it.
This is actually
Okay.
episode
Well,
18.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's
oh,
how that came about. We were storming. We used to have a different show, and there were some issues that came about with it, and we were storming for a new name, and this is just kind of what happened.
okay. Cool. I get it. Are you available on like? Do you got a website or?
We have our website is under construction. We have a Facebook page, and then our shows are currently on YouTube until Mr. Nipples gets everything set up for iTunes.
Okay. Okay. Cool. But okay, so I'm on Facebook right now. Can I go to your
Yep,
page?
you can go on our page. There's so many
So does
memes on
daycare?
there. Yep, Daycare Podcast. We've got so many memes on there, it's ridiculous. We just kind of our show is about the veteran stuff and everything else, and the Facebook page is more or less entertaining everybody to get people to smile during the day.
Okay,
Yep.
cool. I mean, that's what I try to do too.
Yeah, if we can make fellow vets laugh, it takes some of the stress out of life.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, absolutely.
So speaking of how things came about, how exactly did Private Murphy happen?
Okay, so I've told this story so many times. I hope it isn't boring anybody, but I used to do cartoons of just like in-house, inside joke type cartoons for the guys in my unit.
I get it.
And, I was at Fort Bragg at the time, and they said, hey, you really need to take this down to the Paraglide and have them publish these cartoons. Well, these cartoons they weren't anything that was fit to be published in the paper. They were, inside jokes, really raunchy stuff, just, and plus no one would get that. No one would have understood them had they not been part of the incident that had occurred and so forth, right? Now,
Yeah.
I really didn't have a character then, so I started thinking, well, okay, I will, after enough pressure, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. But I tried to think of, okay, what can I do? So the first cartoon I did was a cartoon on the 5 points of performance, and you're jumping from plane, parachute landfall, and I brought it down to the Paraglide and I showed it to the editor. His name was Sergeant Bean, and he said, yeah, this is cool, but we don't want to just do like a one-shot comic. Do you have anything else? And I said, well, no. He said, well, if you can come up with something that we can do, each month, because it's a monthly paper, Paraglide's a monthly paper. If you can come up with something we can do each month, then we'll run your cartoon. So I went home and I thought about it, and I, just figured, okay, well, I'll do a cartoon about a soldier, have him start at the recruiter's office, and have him, move on through his army life, and how it started.
So now Private Murphy's an E6 now, correct? Staff sergeant.
Yes, he's staff sergeant.
Okay. Yeah. Mr. Nipples is Navy, so I had to say E6 before I say the rank because Navy's got like 1,000 ranks and it's insane.
It's fine. I contract with the Air Force, so
Oh, okay.
I picked up most of the ranks through there, except for that weird tech sergeant stuff they have.
Yeah, and they've got 1,000 ranks too that still make half sense.
Yeah,
So,
they do.
um, so if I had to ask, and I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
somebody has. What is your favorite comic? Single comic of Private Murphy that you've done so far?
I mean, like over the past 30 years
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, so I think it would be, and I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, but it's where Murphy goes to sick call.
I will have to find it and read it.
Okay, well, I mean, it's up on my Facebook page, and I think I posted it not too long ago too. So either that or the one I just recently did where Murphy has like some clear plexiglass stilts and he
Was
fakes out the
hilarious.
sergeant major walking on air across his lawn.
Oh, I laughed so hard. Oh,
So that one you have seen.
I've read quite a few of them. There's so much stuff going on that that one, yeah. One of my favorites, I gotta say, are your crossovers with JLo. I love those ones. They're just so, yeah, they fit so well together. You guys do such good work together.
Yeah, well, so I know Pete, and I forget how. Well, I don't forget how I met him. I saw his cartoons either on Facebook or someplace, and I thought, wow, this guy kind of has the same sense of humor as I do. So I reached out to him, and I told him, hey, you got something good going on here, and and I think maybe like a year later, he writes me, he says, hey, I'm coming out to Fort Huachuca. I said, cool, let's meet up for a beer or whatever. He's like, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. I'm being stationed at Fort Huachuca. So that was even better. So, so I live right here in Sierra Vista. And so, I mean, we get together from time to time. We go, we spitball some ideas. We do these crossovers. It's fun.
Yeah. Just so everybody knows, the only reason that this podcast is even happening is because I reached out to see if I could use the likeness of Private Murphy in Pete's challenge that he's doing for his comic. And I'm trying to, and I have not succeeded thus far, but I'm trying to cut these figurines out of cardboard, or not cardboard, construction paper. And I'm going to do it kind of South Park style for 4 frames. And it's horrible so far, but I'm still trying because the wife won't let me cheat and use the Cricut. So,
Nick, are you there? I'm losing you.
oh, did my thing disconnect again?
You cut out
Son
just a
of a-
bit
I
there.
don't know, but it sounded like
All right, that better?
like a string twanging for a second.
Yep.
No, but I heard what you were saying. So you're gonna do a
Yeah.
South Park. You're gonna do like a cutout South Park type thing. That's cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, but my wife won't let me use the Cricut to do it because she says that's cheating.
Uh-huh.
So I'm trying to do it by hand, and they keep turning out horrible.
Oh. Sorry, man. I can't help you there.
No, I know.
Cricut. What's a Cricut?
It's like this craft thing where you put a design into the computer, and the computer cuts it out of paper for you.
Cool.
And she won't let me do it because she says it's cheating.
Well, there's no such thing as cheating.
That's what I tried to tell her. But
I'm curious as to what you're going to do with them.
Well, he has these lines that he has for the competition, and it's all right, privates. Today we are doing land nav. The private says something like, "How often do we have to do land nav in normal duty?" And GLO says, "Whatever command wants to get you out of the office for 10 hours." And I asked if I can add a line to that, and he said, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." And I'm going to add, but I'm not going to be a lieutenant. Oh. Okay.
Oh. Sorry, I was a bit slow on the pickup on that one, but okay.
It's never taken me 10 hours to do land nav. It takes an hour and a half tops.
Yeah.
So, but
right. Well, I mean, he's a drill sergeant up here at Fort Huachuca, and I think a lot of these things are coming from his actual experiences.
oh, they are, and that's the best part about them.
Oh, yeah.
We've heard some wonderful stories from him. In fact, did he show you the one that's going to be coming out about G.I. Lowe and his weigh-in?
No, he hasn't been. He hasn't. I've shared some future, comics with him. He's been holding back on me. He's telling me stuff
Oh
coming.
dang!
Wait till I see him next time.
Ooh,
I got to see it. It is the funniest thing. What's going to come out
comic beef.
is going to rock the G.I. Lowe world. It is just hilarious.
Wow. Okay. Awesome.
So, yeah. It is so great. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about it now. It's making me laugh. Sorry, Pete. I won't say any more. I know that it's under wraps. So, but when he was on the show the first time, he told us a story about the private that had that marble table. Ordered a marble table and something or another into this barracks room. Mm-hmm. And about 3 weeks later, he released a comic where this private had a marble table delivered to the barracks, and I'm like, ah! So I fanboy a little bit with these things. I'm sorry. But what's the next major step for Private Murphy?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna. I mean, I really don't know.
That's the best way to go.
I mean, from week to week, I mean, I really don't have a plan.
Okay.
And most times I'm scrambling for, okay, well, what am I going to do next week?
I know the feeling. Our guests are constantly canceling. That's why this happens. So
content's hard to make, like especially when you get down to creative content. Because I run a page where I make like Warwave art as well, and I basically just have to sit there and look at pictures until something clicks. I can't just like go and make something, You really gotta you just gotta sit there and wait for something to click in your head. It's pretty difficult.
No, I mean, I understand completely. I've tried to explain this to other people that ask me like, well, how do you come up with your ideas and so forth, and
it's completely random.
And it's random, or it's you happen to observe something that you save back for later, or it's not a thing where and you can't like sit down and say, okay, I'm going to spend 8 hours doing this.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work that way like a regular job. It's hard to explain. It's either working or it's not working. Sometimes you got to walk away.
Yeah.
And that's part of the process.
Yeah, I make 200-300 memes, and about 6 of them get posted. So, yeah, I get it. It's it's not as.
Wait, so do you veto your own memes, or are you saying someone else says?
I put them in front of the babysitters, the staff of Daycare. We have a chat page, and I post them up there, and they say yay or nay, and if it's more nays than yays, it gets scrapped for later. Revisit later. So.
Well, do any of them ever get vetoed that you're like, damn, that was a really good one? I don't know why.
Usually, if it's it's because the font or some of the wording is a little off, or I can't spell for crap, so a lot of times it's my grammar.
Same.
Okay, so it's not the humor; it's just the
Well,
execution.
sometimes my humor's too dark, and you're like, dude, you gotta back it off a bit.
trying to get the page ban.
Like I had one a while ago, and I'm not gonna get too into it, but it's the ovens of Auschwitz and the pile of bones by the back gate, and it's when you accidentally fall into the oven, they're like, dude, you can't post that. And I was like, I know, but okay. And I had another one with troops in the gas chamber, and like 5 or 6 different frames of different troops in the gas chamber, and then a picture of the gas chamber from Auschwitz, and they're like, man, you gotta stop this. And I'm like, but it says not everybody's experience is the same.
Right, but that.
I know.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. That's a bit over the top for me.
Oh, I know it is. It's some days I get into that really dark point, and I make some messed up stuff, but it gets the stress out.
Right. No, I hear you. I mean, sometimes I have some stuff, but I don't share it with anybody. It's
Yeah.
just, you know,
It helps.
ever.
It helps relieve the stress, and just because it's you can get a laugh out of it doesn't mean that it's a good thing to put out there into the universe.
True that.
Right, because, yeah, I mean, when you're reaching a wide audience, you never know.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
hey,
and,
so where you guys are at right now, do you have access to a computer?
I would, but my computer's out with the kids, and they are watching Mickey Mouse, and I'm not going to go out there.
Yeah, I'm actually broadcasting from a computer.
Oh, okay. So I mean, what I want to say is, okay. So in addition to Private Murphy, which I've been doing for years and
Yeah.
years and years, I'm an old guy now. But I started doing about 6 months ago. I started doing another series of. I mean, they're not necessarily they're cartoon. I mean, they're cartoon drawings, cartoon-ish.
Hmm.
But it's a whole new separate comic called Charlie Mike. I don't know
Ooh,
if you've seen it, if you're
Hmm.
familiar with it at all.
no, but I'll have
I
to
felt
find
like
it.
I saw something about that today, actually.
Okay, so what happened was, so there was an infantryman in Ramadi named Ken Warner, and he sent me a bunch of stories, years ago, because he's, a big Murphy fan. He's like, hey, can you turn any of these into Murphy comics? And I was able to turn a couple of them into Murphy comics.
Hmm.
But also, as I'm reading his stories, I'm like, wow, it'd be, I think it'd be really cool to actually illustrate these stories, have it not be like a gag thing with a punchline at the end, but just illustrate soldiers' stories from their experiences. So that's what I started doing. So I set up the web page. I got a site on Facebook, Charlie My Comics, and so it started with Ken, and I illustrated some of his, and then CQ. His name's Mike, and I can't pronounce his last name, so and no one could in his unit. That's why they all call him CQ. But anyway, so CQ started sending me some stories, started illustrating his stories, and then since then it's been kind of snowballing. I've got a bunch of people sending me their experiences, and so I'm taking them and I'm putting them into comics. I mean, well, I'm illustrating them.
Hmm.
And it seems to be going pretty well because people are reading these things. I mean, I guess it's one thing when you go to someone's blog and you're just reading. I don't know if it makes it easier for people to like have pictures with their story,
Well,
but
yeah,
I'm
of
really getting
course.
some I'm getting some good feedback, and the stories are actually well, they're some of them are pretty emotional. I mean, I'm getting a lot of stories from a lot of guys and gals that they've probably told to their friends that they served with, their family possibly. But there's so many things that I just look at them and think, wow, how could I have never heard about this? And why does, I mean,
Yeah,
um, there's so much information here, so many experiences that, no one's going to hear about unless they know these people. I mean, I just kind of feel like I'm doing my part of getting their story out there.
that's kind of what we're here for. Too many stories are being lost as the generations get older and they die, and the stories disappear.
Sure.
And that's what we're here for: give people a place to tell their story. And we're also here because people come on and they talk about the battles they have, and talking about it and other people hearing talking about this lets them know they're not alone. A few weeks back,
Oh,
we had a gentleman on, and we were having a bad storm. I couldn't be on that night, but the other guys filled in for me. And this guy got on and talked about his fight with with suicide,
right.
and it was a very, very emotional episode. But we've had people reach out since that said, "Hey, you know what? Thanks." And it's amazing the amount of people that go, I'm not alone on this. So what you're doing is amazing.
So, I mean, you can't take a look at my website from where you don't have a computer to do that.
I actually pulled it up and linked it in the video as well. So I got both your pages linked, and I'm taking a look at it right now.
I'm trying to see if I can find the old laptop here.
Okay, so I mean, if you can, I mean, I'm just bringing this up because of what you just said. I have a story up on. So, I mean, besides Facebook, there's a web page out there. It's charliemikecomics.com.
Okay.
It's Charlie, CharlieMike,
Yeah, I found it.
altogether, COMIX.com. Okay, you found it?
Yep.
So on the upper right-hand corner, under latest comics, there's one there called Irrevocable Damage.
Latest comics. Irrevocable damage. Yep.
Okay, so if you click on that one, so the soldier sent this to me, and he wanted to remain anonymous. And this is, and this is probably the best. Well, maybe not the best example, but one of the examples that this isn't like it's not a gag comic. These are people's stories.
Yeah.
The drawing, the illustrations are cartoony, but like when I drew this story, well, one, he emailed me one time. Normally, when I'm working with the writers that are sending me these stories, we go back and forth. I'll send them drafts. They'll send me something back. Sometimes they have pictures, which helps out an awful lot. This was like a one-shot deal. Sent it to me. Every time I tried to reach out to him afterwards, just radio silence. He never got back to me.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know if this is what stuff looked like. I don't know. I did my best, given the the narrative that he gave me.
Yeah.
And and it was tough. It was tough drawing this thing. It was tough reading his story. It was tough putting this thing together. And I mean, people reading it, they have similar comments to me, like, holy crap, can you get a hold of this guy? It's hard to explain. I mean, that's why I was hoping you could look it up. You could pull it up and you could take a look at it.
Yeah, I'm reading it right now. Actually,
I'll
have it up.
We'll actually get that. We'll get that shared to our Facebook page here as soon as the episode's over. Or actually, he might be able to do it now.
Yeah, I could. I'll do that.
I found the old laptop. I just can't find the cord for it. Yeah. If you want to hear a crazy story, and I'm dead serious, it is an insane story. Go to our YouTube channel and listen to Cleanup Crew. Cleanup Crew? Yeah, it is insane. The things that the government told these guys when they were cleaning up the nuclear waste in the Pacific. They told them they're walking around picking up uranium, plutonium with their bare hands, but they were told it was no worse than background radiation in New York.
Wow.
And they were not given suits or anything. So yeah. So I gotta ask. I'm sure it's been stated somewhere, and I just haven't found it. What is Staff Sergeant Murphy's MOS?
Oh, you know what? He's an infantryman.
Is he? Okay.
That's what it. I mean, but sometimes I throw. See, when I first joined a million years ago, I was a cavalry scout. So I was torn between making him a Cav scout or an infantryman. But no, but he's infantry. He's an infantryman. Every now and then I'll throw like some, Cav flags in the back there. But really that's who Murphy is.
Okay, that's what throws me off. I see these things now and again, and I'm like, But okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Right. Well, I mean, later on, I was 98. I was a signals intelligence analyst.
Oh wow.
So, and that's how I spent the majority of my career. So some of the, so some of the stuff I used in the cartoon, the experiences are different. You're still in the Army, but if you're not infantry or some type of combat arms, it's a whole crazy different world.
I can only imagine. I was a gun buddy, and I miss it.
Well,
there's nothing. Nothing good.
No, you good.
There's nothing like the gun line. I'm telling you, the smoke and the sound and the feel and the just it's pure joy.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can't say that I've ever. I mean, I have done some call for fire, but I mean, I've never been near I've never even really seen the big guns.
I was on a 155, the 109 Alpha 6. It was, I loved it. So, and then
So
you get
was
to
that
drive.
what you did the majority of your career, or?
Well, until we got to Iraq. And then they're like, you know what? We can't really be shooting these inside of Baghdad. So, yeah. You're patrol now. And we're like, yay! Because the train to go to Iraq, we went to Grafenwoehr in the middle of the winter.
Uh-huh.
Which I don't know if you know anything about Graf, but it is
Oh
cold.
yeah, no.
Okay.
I know Graf. That was our old stomping grounds. You know?
Oh, Graf. Graf and Hohenfeld. The only place where it can be frozen solid, dusty, and you can drive your vehicle into a 20-foot deep puddle. I don't get it.
Yeah,
So.
I think it is only winter at Grafenwoehr.
We were up there
no
one
matter
time.
what.
We were up there one time, and it hit like 103 or something, and I was like, oh my God, where's winter?
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, I got so many stories. But, yeah, it's, you remember the first Battle of Fallujah, where artillery basically leveled the city?
No.
Okay, well, that was my unit. We went up there and we basically destroyed everything. So, yeah. But, yeah. Wait, you've been doing Private Murphy, you said, for 20 years?
Since 1991, I think. 1 or 2.
Wow.
So
Okay.
what's that? A long time.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's before I was born.
Is it really?
That is, I was born in 96.
Holy crap.
So
Thank
it's
you.
older
Thank
than
you for
older
that.
than 20. Why do I always make all of our guests feel old?
He makes me feel old all the time. In fact, everybody except for Lilith on the staff makes me feel old. So Lilith is the only one that's older than me on our staff. But you know what? She's like better off than I. I'm the old, overweight, out of shape, broken guy, and she's like, "La-di-da-di-da, I'm gonna go play with my kids," and I'm like, "Oh, you suck." Yeah, I got out in 2007. So
That's when I retired, 2007.
yeah, that's when my board went through, was 2007. My knee's so shot I walk and it barely bends, and I just kind of hobble along and drag it with me. So
Sorry, man. Sorry to hear that.
I'm not. I did it for a good reason. It doesn't hurt unless I, bend it. So you just don't bend it. In fact, my muscles don't even let me bend it much anymore. So.
Dang.
Hey, I'm not complaining. I did a lot when I was in with a bum knee. You make do with what you got, right?
Sure.
So, all right. Since, you were talking about stories, I got one for you. And this isn't technically mine, but he's a member of my team. Okay. And it's a crazy Cajun. I got a picture of, and it's so funny. We had just arrived in Kuwait during the build-up before we headed in. And we hadn't even gotten to Camp Udara yet. And we're waiting for our equipment to come off this boat. And this guy, he sees a sheet of sheet metal and he sees this giant sand dune. So he's like, what the hell? And he treks himself up this sand dune. And it's so dang tall, I had to look up and it hurt my neck looking at this darn thing. Wow. And he gets on the sheet metal and slides down the opposite side. And none of us realized how dirty that Gulf is. It is just polluted and nasty and trash and stinks. And he goes down the opposite side, and where does he end up? In the water.
You come out with a third arm.
Oh, it's so funny. It's just.
Let me guess, he came out with like a third arm.
Oh, no. Just came out, wanted to smoke pot. Oh, wait. He did that anyways. He must have gotten 20 Article 15s when we were in just from pissing hot.
Damn.
Never stopped him though.
Wow.
He was one of the best troops we had, though. I gotta tell you.
Oh, I read the comic. The one that you brought up. I just forgot the name of it. I was just looking at it. Damn.
Okay.
Irrevocable damage. Yep, that's the one. Yeah, I just read it. That was pretty good. That was a really
Thanks.
good comic.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. So they're not like Murphy comics. They're not like
Yeah,
not a gag. No
definitely more
punchline at the end. No gag.
serious tones.
Yeah. I mean, these are people's real stories.
Yeah, I like them. I
So
think it'll definitely help people seeing other people with similar experiences. You know.
That always
yeah,
helps.
because I think a lot of people think they're alone,
Yeah.
and I think that's why they don't reach out to
Definitely.
anyone, because one, they think they're alone, and then two, there's an awful lot of, well, just on a whole, mental illness is misunderstood, right?
It is.
Yeah.
People think you can just shake it off or whatever,
I thought the part about
and
military medical was super accurate, where he explained he took the 1 through 5 test, and he put
yeah,
5, and then they said, "Oh, that's too extreme," and
yeah,
he's basically like, "Yeah, that's why would I take the test if you're gonna tell me how I feel?" Basically, I thought that was pretty
right,
accurate in the mental health situation nowadays,
Yeah.
especially for people with PTSD and stuff. I feel like it's super misunderstood.
Yeah.
sure. I mean,
We have a guest that's been on here twice. I served with him. His name's Jose Belen, and that's a major fight for him. Yeah, it's a serious battle for him. I mean, it's a serious battle for everybody, but he's very open about it and doesn't hide it and shares his experiences and what he's doing, and and he's fighting for alternative medicine for veterans and troops, and he's one of those guys that understands and is really fighting. And it's amazing to see that there's guys out there like you and him that are willing to stand up and take the fight, and one way or another, just so people know they're not alone and that people care. And that's what
yeah,
we're all about. We like hearing these stories from you guys.
sure. It's yeah, like I said, I mean, it's misunderstood. I mean, not just PTSD or a whatever the other thing they call it, like moral injury,
Yep.
or
These.
even but any type of mental illness is looked upon like, well, if it's not visible, that it's not an injury, it's not an illness, right? I
Yeah.
mean, a recruiter, if you are on any type of medication for anxiety or whatever, what have you, antipsychotic or whatever, a recruiter will tell you, well, if you have to be off your meds for 2 years before you can enlist. Well, I'm hearing this from recruiters, just thinking, well, that's just ridiculous. I mean, would you tell somebody that has
That's
diabetes you have to be
insane.
off your insulin for 2 years before you can enlist? I mean,
Yeah.
either make a policy where if you have any type of mental illness that you're disqualified, just like as if you were in a wheelchair. Okay, I mean, there's discriminators. I can understand some discriminators. Make it a discriminator, but don't tell people with an illness not to take their medication
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
so
just
that
irresponsible.
they can join and fail anyway. And then likewise, soldiers going through traumatic events, don't treat it like it's not an injury. It's like something they can shake off. It's ridiculous.
I agree. It's the way that things have been handled. Granted, it's getting better, but it's not being handled correctly, and it's yeah, it's just jacked up. I don't even know how to put it. The stories that we hear from a lot of these VAs, and Arizona is one of the worst, is the things we're hearing are mind numbing, and they just hurt. In fact, one of the people on our team here at Daycare, every time she goes every time she goes to the VA, they mispronounce her last name wrong. They have like 9 different files with 9 different spellings of her last name.
And what is her last name?
Well, I won't say it on the line, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, she doesn't want. We have the names that we do because people tend to send us you'd be amazed at the crazy crap we get sent from being on the air and from our page. It is ridiculous.
What do you mean, like derogatory stuff?
Derogatory, naked pictures, hate mail. You'd be surprised.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's crazy people out there. Same
Indeed.
reason that Pete just had to change his name on his account. So
Yep.
yeah, he had to change his name on his Facebook account because people were starting to send him crazy crap.
Oh boy.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but my
I hope they don't add me to their mailing list.
I don't think they will. I don't
No,
think
you.
the target of a comic's going to be high on their list.
Well,
Good.
you know,
Yeah.
G.I. Lowe is a comic, and yeah. But so we have this tradition, and everybody that's served has to come on and tell us a crazy story that they either participated in or heard while they were in service.
So I have to tell you a crazy story that
Either you participated in or you heard about while you were in.
oh man, you put me on the spot, so now I can't think
Yeah.
at all. I've completely drawn a blank.
We do this
Every
to
time.
everybody.
Yeah.
I'll tell one of my crazy stories before you go. Maybe it'll
Okay.
help.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
we were
Let's
in
hear
Hoensfeld, and it was dead of winter, and we came up to one of those weird roads. Shouldn't be a road. It was a hardball, and it was completely covered in packed ice. And FDC, the first half of the gun line had gotten down the hill, and I was right after FDC, and they got this small little aluminum vehicle that's towing a trailer behind them. And I'm up there, and my ground guy goes, "Go ahead, go down the hill." And I'm like, "No, Smoke, I'm not doing this." "You got it, go down the hill." I'm like, "All right, Smoke." I tell everybody, including my TC, to get the hell out of my vehicle because I'm not being responsible for them. If I get hurt, that's fine. So they all got out, and I start going down, and everything's fine. And he's ground guiding me, and I don't know what happened, but next thing I know, I'm looking up at blue sky and I'm going backwards. Last second, I flip it back around and I see the FTC vehicle and crunch.
Oh man.
And the big old cat went over the trailer and up onto the FTC vehicle, and it was just a mess. But, nobody was hurt. That's the big deal.
Huh.
But, yeah. It wasn't on me. You know the regs.
Wow.
It's on the ground guide. So.
Okay. Okay, you've warmed me up. I think I got a story for you. I don't know how crazy this is, but so after my first enlistment, I ETS'd. It was like 91. I mean, it was right before the Desert Storm.
Okay.
89, 90. But in any case, I was out about 6 months before I got a letter because I was still IRR, right? Like, I did my 4 years, X amount of months.
Yep.
So I get a letter saying, hey, due to presidential executive order such and such, you got 7 days to get your ass back to Fort Knox in uniform, right? So, so I got this letter, and have you ever heard like the expression like the room spun or whatever?
Oh yeah.
That's how I felt like getting this letter and like, oh my god, I was out. So so okay, so then I and all I needed was that letter. I get on a plane and I go to Fort Knox with a bunch of other people, and we're all getting back in the Army. We arrive there. It's like 2:00 in the morning. They bring us down to this auditorium, and this is 91, 92, somewhere around there, right? VCR, they roll out this TV, they throw in a VHS tape, this major comes on. I mean, they didn't even have like a real human person come and talk to
You
us.
got the video introduction back in.
Yes, and so this guy gets on the TV and he's like, "Welcome back to the United States Army," right? And so I'm watching this thing, and everybody's freaked out because all we're hearing at the time is like Saddam Hussein has the fourth largest army in the world, and he's gonna swim in U.S. soldiers' blood, all this crap, right? So I'm watching the TV while everyone's kind of on the edge of the seat. I lean back and because I had a feeling like someone was looking at me, and so I look down the row, and there's this guy John Maselli, who was the driver on my Bradley, right? And he's looking at me and he's pointing at me. He's like, "Oh, motherfucker, they got you too," And so we're laughing. And we, so from there, they tell us, they locked us down, like nobody could leave because I guess people were going AWOL. I don't know what was going on, but so they locked us down. They're on Fort Knox. They took us from there straight to the plane, and they're telling us, look, there's, they said one of three things is going to happen. Either you're gonna stay here in the States, you're going to Iraq, or you're going to Germany. Okay, so we get on a plane and we're all heading to Germany. And I'll tell you, all of a sudden, people became like the bravest badasses you could ever meet. We're on this 8-hour flight, and guys, I wish I was going to the sandbox and this and that, talking all this garbage, because we're good. We're going to Germany, right? We'll be eating schnitzel and drinking Hefeweizens. So we arrive there in Germany. We get off the plane, go to another place like the 21st Replacement or whatever it is. This MI captain comes out from our group there. He's like, "Gentlemen, you need to get your head straight because in 2 weeks you're going to Iraq." Right? So all of a sudden, all these shit talkers, I don't hear nothing else. Right? we get on a bus that's taking us to the 11th ACR where these guys are going to train us up, and I'm sitting there with that guy John Maselli. And and we're kind of just we're nervous too, but we were kind of laughing about it. Like I was like, "Man, John, can you fucking believe this? We were done, we were out." He's like, "I know, man." He goes, "And now they got us back. You know what's gonna happen?" I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna die." And so we're having this kind of this joking conversation back and there's there's some kid like 2 seats down behind us. He's like crying. He's like, "Shut up, you guys!" And it's like, I can't believe this whole thing is happening. So, this is all kind of like a prelude just to get up to the real point of the story. We get to the 11th ACR, and there's like a cadre there, and they're pissed because they're like, it's 11th ACR. They're like, we're here, we're active duty, we're ready to go, and we don't even get to go because we got to be here, getting you stupid scrubs, that had to be pulled back into the army to, get you ready for deployment, right? But some of the cadre are cool. But and as it turns out, there's people are asking me, "Hey, what's your data rank? What's your data rank?" I'm just a buck sergeant, and I told them I don't even think what's going on. Next thing I know, this E7 is like, "Hey, Baker, you're the senior sergeant, so you're gonna be platoon sergeant in this platoon." I'm like, "Wow, okay, I guess." So we have formation the first day. Again, we're locked down. No one can go anywhere. You can't leave the barracks. You can be in the barracks or not be in the barracks.
Damn.
Or or not go anywhere. So we have formation the first day, and they put all the stuff out to us. They put us in the barracks, and they're just getting us ready. Back in. The next day, I come down. We have we're having formation. And that E7, I can't remember his name, but he's like, "Sergeant Baker, where the hell is your platoon?" There's like 3 guys standing behind me. I'm like, "I got no idea. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know where these guys are." So he's like, "Well, come with me. We're gonna go find them or whatever." So we're searching all over for these guys. We don't know if they've gone AWOL or whatever. And so about noon, here they come. I'm talking like 25 guys from my platoon are rolling up on on crutches, right?
What?
And they're limping by me, and I'm like, "What happened to you?" And oh, Sarge, I slipped in the snow. What happened to you? Oh, I slipped in the snow, Sarge. What happened? What the hell? What happened? Finally, I found out later that what these guys were doing were they were putting their leg like bracing it up against the bunk and having somebody from the top bunk jump down on their leg.
What
No
the fuck?
shit. Right. Okay, so they're doing this to fuck themselves up because they're looking
Jeez.
to get out of deploying, right? Well, the joke was on them because like 2 weeks later, the day we're supposed to deploy, the Gulf War began. The ground war started. And 3 days later, it's over.
Yep.
So here's all these guys. They got broken legs, sprained ankles. That shit, like sheer cowardice because that was their mastermind plan of getting out of this deployment.
And we just steamrolled into Gulf
we're just
War.
and then we're just getting on a plane to go back home and be released from the army again.
That's insane.
That's my story.
That is so insane.
So we were Camp Wadari, right? And General Shinseki shows up. And he's standing in front of us. Wait, not General Shinseki, General... I don't remember his name now. Smoke's going to get a hold of me later and be like, "Hello, you know who it was. You're an idiot." But, yep, so he's standing up there and he's going, "Not all y'all will come home, but you do not have permission to die. It is against lawful orders to die without permission." And we're like, "What the hell?" And none of you all have permission to die, so therefore you are not allowed to die. We're like, "What the hell?"
I don't know. Was it comforting? Did it feel comforting?
I'm
No!
I'm under orders not to die, so you can't really shoot me, bud.
So
I think some of these GOs go and they practice stuff like that in the mirror at home.
Yeah, so
this is gonna be so inspirational for the guys, for the troops.
So this guy at lunch that day takes a butter knife and tries to slit his wrist just so he can get out of going.
Oh my god.
Well, he probably did test to see if you die or not because he wasn't allowed to. So it's honestly a solid test, I guess, if you're really willing to test it.
Right? You can't tell me what to do. Watch this.
The general said I couldn't die, so I had to test it out. My newfound powers.
Yeah, that just it blew my mind. I was like, "What the hell is he talking about? You can't tell us."
You're gonna get an Article 15 for dying.
Yeah, you can actually.
Wow.
They could actually give you a dishonorable discharge for it because you're breaking general orders.
That's insane.
Damn.
It's never actually happened, but they're allowed to do it.
That's a pretty funny thought, though.
You broke a general order.
How dare you die?
Yeah. Oh, while we have you on, just so you know, we have a memorial wall on the Facebook page. And anyone, whether it be combat-related, MIA, KIA, or military illness, or just, old age, one of the 22, if they get killed by their crazy wife, like Navy spouse guy almost did, there's a marker for almost all of that up on the wall. And just, if anybody listening or anybody that has served and passed away, we'd love to have that name put on there because, well, not love to have it because it's horrible that it passed, but it'd be great if the name was on there because the Saturday before Memorial Day every year, we read those names in the air.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how does it work? You send the name to the administrator?
Nope. You can just go on there and you can add the name to it in the comments. Just add a name and whatever the marker is that you want with it. If you don't want to mark it, that's fine. If you want to add a story or date or anything else, you're welcome to do that too. Last year, I think it was 680 names, and this year we're leaning around 2,000 to 3,000.
Okay.
So.
Oh yeah, reading them this year is going to be a.
Can you imagine?
It's going to be a whole multi-day process. I'm sure.
Can you imagine 2 or 3 years from now?
Oh goodness, yeah, we're probably going to have to record days in advance and then just release a video.
Yep. But, it is what it is because we don't want these guys. We don't want any forgotten.
Yeah.
if we could, I'd put all of Arlington on there if I could. I just can't type that much.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine. Hold on, I'm on your site right now. I'm trying to see how we go about doing that. So just go right here to Daycare Podcast, and then you just type it in, write a post.
There's a wall. It's at the top of our page. If you scroll down just a little bit on the page, it looks like a brick wall.
Yeah,
it says
this is our wall.
Yep.
Okay.
Just write a comment right there, and it'll post.
Okay, cool.
1 name, 5 names, whatever. It's yeah. We've actually got guys that went through such horrible crap in Iraq that they added their own name to that wall because they're not themselves anymore, and they feel as though they died while they were there. And you know what? I accept that. It's totally understandable that, because you're not the same when you get home. So.
Oops. Wrong place.
I do that all the time.
There we go. Okay.
But yeah, it's yeah. So just so you know, the Saturday before every year we do read it.
Okay. Oh, that's pretty cool. I'll spread the word on that one.
We appreciate it. It's one of the few things we can actually do. So I know there's memorials everywhere, but with the way that things have been getting defaced, and then people forget about the memorials, and people don't take the time to read the names. So we might as well. Somebody might as well read them.
Right.
There's an old saying, in the old Norse countries, northern countries. What's the proper way to say it, Mr. Nipples? Norse countries, northern countries, Northmen countries.
Nordic countries.
There you go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That as long as the name is spoken aloud, the person is never forgotten. So, yeah, that's just, it's one of those things that, so.
Yeah.
And any stories anyone adds to it, just adds something to it. And like we learned about this guy that was at the nuclear cleanup, and he was trying to put down a landing ramp, and they hit a landmine that for some reason was on this island and blew himself up.
Wait, so on this memorial wall, you can do more than just put their name. You could tell a story about them.
You can add a story. You can add dates. You can add rank. You can add whatever you want. It's your story to tell of your loved one.
Yeah, we pretty much read out whatever's put for each name. It can just be a name and a rank or a little story about them.
Yep. We've even got a couple contractors that were on there for the government that have passed away in the line of duty with the service. So, yeah, we'll take whatever and we'll share it. It's family and friends need to know that their loved ones are not forgotten, and that's a big deal.
Right. No,
and knowing that, yeah, go ahead.
No, I just said no. It is. It is a big deal.
Yeah, and when people know they're not forgotten when they pass away, then they know that they're not forgotten when they're alive, because if we are going to remember those that are not here, we will definitely remember those that are here. And that is one thing that a lot of people have learned. We get a lot of crazy, I'm not going to say crazy, but we got, that's the wrong word to use, but we got a lot of people reaching out and a lot of people talking on our stuff, and even if they just comment something stupid, they're interacting with people. And interaction is half of what prevents you from feeling alone. So
sure. No, I agree.
And we try and respond. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and everyone deals with stress and grief and anxiety or whatever, in different ways. Just like you were saying, your memes may not be for everybody, but
well, that's why
it doesn't necessarily make them wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that's your way of dealing.
Yeah. Well, that's also why I've got 700 members of the babysitter crew, as I put it. It's so that way we can all come up, we all pitch in something different, and that way you end up with something for almost everybody.
Right.
We hit everybody's sense of humor, everybody's the way people are feeling. Yeah.
It's like Bob Ross said. Sometimes you gotta have dark times, so when the good times happen, you know they're good.
Bob Ross was a badass.
Bro, I love Bob Ross. Such a good guy. Such a
Before
wholesome man.
before he became this wholesome man that did these amazing paintings and loved everybody, he was a badass in the service.
Oh yeah,
No,
So-
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
yeah. He was a drill
He's a-
instructor, I believe.
Yep.
Wow, I couldn't imagine it.
Yeah, I know, right?
Right.
He actually retired from service because he didn't want to have to yell at people, and he wanted to make the world a brighter place, and he basically didn't like yelling.
Well, he did
Yeah.
his time, I believe it was Vietnam, or was it Panama? I don't remember, but he did some time in, yeah.
I think it was Vietnam.
Yep, he did his tour.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you ever want to come on, though, and, talk about not just your comic, but your time in service, or, or whatever, we're welcome. We'd love to have you back. It's, we feel as though we get to know a lot of our guests pretty well, and we didn't get into the show your life much tonight. We talked about your comic and just kind of riffed like we tend to do. We get off track. For that,
No,
I am.
Oh yeah.
No, that's absolutely fine. I mean, I can only tell you about I can only talk about time in service. I mean, I did not deploy. I am not a combat veteran.
Not everybody is. Only what?
I'm not
7% of the. It's
I've
roughly
only,
7 to 12%.
I've only pretty much been in one unit that actually does anything semi-useful so far, but I've put in orders for a Riverine unit, so hopefully I get that. It'd be pretty neat.
But even with us having been in war now for, God, dang,
Literally since before I was born.
since 2001, we've been in non-stop war, and they still say between 7 and 10% is combat vets. The rest are, just people that serve. So, and
Yeah,
that's
so-
fine.
No, I mean, absolutely. I mean, infantrymen need support. Combat arms need support. That's another reason why my character is an infantryman. I wanted him to be, those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That we should support, and we shouldn't get too bent out of shape when they're walking with a swagger, because they are the guys that are doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You should put him in a blue dress someday. Little tiara on
Blue
his head.
dress.
Yeah, little blue dress and a tiara. Because
No,
he's a
that's
queen.
not going to happen.
Because he's a queen.
What's? No.
Well, I was the king, so I.
No, I got it. King of battle, queen of battle. I got it. I always wondered about that too. Queen of battle. I mean, who in the world came up with that?
Napoleon.
Oh, really? That's where that came
Yes, one of the greatest, military minds in history. He actually said that the infantry is unable to move unless the artillery, the king of battle, the deciding factor in combat, is able to allow them to move.
I believe the quote derived from chess.
Yes, it
Yeah.
did.
Oh.
But the man
Okay,
was a
well, I
genius.
guess that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
He's back then. Everybody was using cavalry and was using this, that, and the other, and he was so successful because he knew by studying the Romans that the only way you can truly win a war is with the superior artillery. And it's true. I mean, look what we did in Iraq.
I don't mean to laugh, but I know you're an
Yeah.
artilleryman, so
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to
Talking
emphasize
of
it.
artillery an awful lot.
No, I mean, good on you. Have some pride for your branch. That's cool.
No, yeah. We had some really good NCOs, and Mr. Nipples here will tell you that that Smoke is he's a legend. He's one of those guys that
Smoke's a great guy.
he talks to you and you feel better about yourself because he cares. that's just the kind of leadership I had. I got really lucky. And he instilled in us this pride in artillery and in the history of the job, and it sticks because he gave a crap. So, yeah.
Okay, cool.
We're also one of the only units that deployed. We're one of the only units that deployed back in, 04. Still hasn't lost anybody to 22 a day, which is kind of amazing.
Yeah.
All right, well, we just hit the hour mark. If you guys want to do the plugging and the wrapping up and such.
I know you've got a few books out. Did you want to put any of the names out of the books that you got, or?
Well, actually, all the books are out of print. So, if you're coming across a Murphy book, it's somebody selling it on eBay or a used bookstore. They're I don't know. Hopefully, they're collector's items. There are no more. There's none being printed. That run is done. So, I really don't have any products to sell.
Okay.
Alrighty.
The best I could do is just like, I'm just looking for people to come by and take a look at this Charlie Mike thing, because I think it's, I don't know. I feel like I'm doing good works, and I would like more people to see it. To see it. Not from like my personal gratification. There's that too. Of course.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I want these things to reach some folks.
Help share the stories.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're not my stories. They're they're soldier stories.
Yeah.
I'm just drawing pictures.
As I told Pete, you are welcome to drop them on the page anytime, and we will make sure that they get authorized to go through. You're welcome to share as much as you want. It's we like having you guys on, and this is if we can help get your stories out, or the stories that you're working on out, it'd be even better. So.
Okay, cool. Appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem.
I linked both your pages in the podcast description, and shared one of the posts with the link to the website.
Sweet.
Well.
We'll get that up.
All right.
We'll get that post up on Facebook here too.
Yeah.
As always.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys.
Oh,
yes. No, we will hopefully talk to you later. Pete wants to do a joint show with you sometime.
Oh, I think that would be a good time.
Oh yeah, it'd be fun.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we could call it from the VFW, me and Pete, with a couple drinks in us.
Oh wow,
that'd be great.
That would be good. He was drunk as a skunk last time he was on because he just lost all his fish. So. As always, everyone, reach out. Sometimes it's your happiest friend that needs the most love. So.
Yeah, reach out and talk to your buds. And, people you served with, make sure they're good.
And if you didn't serve, check on your neighbor, check on a friend, check on a coworker, whatever. Everybody always needs somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Don't drink and drive. Don't do anything stupid, and
don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Well, okay. So what you can do is poke people's eyes out with your nipples in the gym. You can do that. You're all right.
Yeah, as long as your nipples are hard when you're on the doing squats, you're good to go. You're clear. As long as you're on the rack when it happens, it makes it okay.
As always, there's plenty of organizations out there to help you. There's Mission Zero Actual out of Florida. There's the IGY-6, the American Military Family. I know there's DV has a group, and so does Drinking Bros. So. There's guys out there, and these guys aren't professionals. They're just brothers that serve that want to talk if you need to talk.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I had a big piece that I was going to share. Oh, yeah, we have an author coming on at the end of the month, and Mr. Nipples, you and I have to listen to his book. It's on audio.
Oh, okay.
And
homework.
We have a mom of the kid that was in the NICU. She's coming on the first Wednesday of September.
Sweet.
So Eric the Red's mom is coming on. It's going to be huge. Yes. And I want to thank you again for coming on. Thank you so much. I've been fanboying all night.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks.
Y'all have a good one.
Later. You too. Have a good night.
You too. Bye, guys. Good talking.